S20 Health and Fitness, located at New Street in Holbrook Industrial Estate in Sheffield. If you're interested in joining, you can quote the Ramble for 10% off. Find them at info@s20healthandfitness.com. Also, if you're interested in working with Finn McNamara, you can follow him on Instagram at FinnMcNamara_PT. Thank you to Finn and S20 for their support of the channel.
Sing it.
What is happening, people, and welcome back to The Other Side. I am, of course, Jimmy. Right, so this is Can Jim Get Slim? And there's been a little bit of a revamp of The Other Side. It's something that I'm keen on continuing, despite us having a revamp elsewhere. So for those that aren't aware, and if you follow any of our other channels, the Ramble Football Club has just been changed to my name, essentially, and I'm going to be covering EFL content over there and really sort of knuckling down and concentrating on getting some real quality bits out, and I want to build that up as a channel as well. The Blades Ramble will always be my #1 passion project, and I don't apologise for that. Sheffield United are my club. I didn't start it as a business. I started it because I love Sheffield United and I want to talk about it. But as you grow a community and as you gain friends along the way, and there's a lot of us that are together now and we feel like a team, I feel a bit of a responsibility to share things about me, really, and my vulnerabilities and things that I'm not not traditionally comfortable talking about. So it was quite, I've never been ashamed of my mental health struggles or anything. Bit like a morning brew, this, by the way. Obviously, it's Can Jim Get Slim, and we'll come on to that. But this is more like me just sort of reflecting on things, really. Yeah, my mental health is something I've never been ashamed to talk about. I have really struggled in the past. I struggled prior to losing my mum with anxiety and things like that, and I've got worse since my mum died. This isn't that sort of video, by the way. It's just, again, just retreading old steps. I'm as good as I can be at the moment, to be honest. I'm okay. I think sometimes I'm a little bit more aware and a little bit more anxious than I have been previously in social circles. Believe it or not, I used to be quite a social butterfly, and I'm not these days so much, which you might not believe if you see me on screen and stuff, but it's just the way different people interact. I feel like I'm just talking to a couple of mates when I'm on here, and ultimately thousands of people sometimes end up seeing it. So my mental health has always been something that firstly I've struggled with, but also I'm quite comfortable speaking about. I don't think there's any shame in admitting that you feel vulnerable and that you are struggling, because I've spoken about it enough to know that there's a lot of good people out there that are willing to help you. And you might not want help, you might not want sympathy from people, and it's not always about that. It's about sometimes the reason I like to push the message out is for anybody watching that thinks I'm struggling, as in like themselves watching. It's good to know. I think it's quite comforting to know that it's more normal than you think. It's a regular thing that a lot of people go through, and I believe that to some level most people go through these emotions, but varying levels. I always refer back to my dad as an example. He is person. A lot of his we're very similar in some ways, and we're very opposite in other ways. He is very he's built to be a lot more chilled and a lot more take things in your stride, but it don't mean he don't get worried about stuff. So like if there were ever anything about me or my brother or anything like that he would be anxious and he would be upset and worried. So even the coolest of customers that my dad is built to be normally, not just because of his upbringing, but just because of how he is as a person, I've taken a lot of my anxious personality traits from my mum's side, I think, and she was always very tightly strung. I don't know what the right terminology is, but it's always been something that I've been aware of, and it's just how you manage it. So I'm on medication. That don't work for everybody, but I'm on medication to manage my anxiety and stuff like that. So there's no shame in that. The one thing that I have had a lot of shame in is the deterioration of my appearance, and that's the first time I've used that context to describe it, and it's very hard, particularly when you if you're struggling with your mental health, then trying to get the motivation up existent. So there's a few things that have had to fall into place for me to be able to finally get myself going a little bit. Because look, don't get me wrong, this is the beginning of the journey. This is not, I'm going to talk to you about, because if you've heard me on other channels, I'm currently a stone down, which I'm absolutely delighted with. But that you don't rest on your laurels there, do you? It's just I've only just started to turn a corner with it. So struggling for motivation, particularly to get myself right, has always been a problem for me. I have neglected my physical health for, I would probably say, 20 years now. So when I was younger, 20 years ago, and I was going out and I gift at Gab and we'd have a great time, we'd have some beers, and as everybody tends, or a lot of people tend to do growing up, the decline in my mental and physical health since then is alarming. So I've always been aware of my mental health, as we've talked about, always tried to tackle that as best I possibly can. But getting motivated to rectify my physical health has remained a big barrier, and it's always been really quite low down on the totem pole of priorities for me. Now, that is where I have had everything back to front, really, because what is stopping me from feeling good about myself, or better about myself, should I say? Well, my physical appearance has an awful lot to do with that. And I like to think I'm quite a logical person, but sometimes those two things don't quite click. So I have, and as I say, everything for me personally, and people's circumstances are different, and I appreciate not everybody will have similar opportunities to me, but I entered into a relationship with S20 Gym due to one of my subscribers that had hooked us up, shout out to Rich Carrington, and sort of put the connections in place. So there's no financial exchange between me and S20. For me talking about this journey, and I hope they don't mind me mentioning this, but that is how I have got on this journey, if you like. So they are helping me through a physical transformation, and I started that about 3 months ago, probably a touch longer. You'll be able to track it on this channel. And because Finn, a personal trainer, was essentially self-employed, he's giving up his own time to be with me, I was adamant that I was not going to let him down, and that I was going to turn up to every session, and that I was going to give it my all. And in terms of that element, I have done it. I have turned up to every session that we've been able to make. Sometimes there's been a last-minute cancellation, or I had to swap it around for whatever reason. But I have made every session that we've been scheduled for. Obviously, never no-showed. It's not what we do, is it? But it's nearly an hour's trip there, and nearly an hour's trip back, because it's over in like Killamarsh way for me. So it's a long trip. So it's commitment and it's dedication to going. But I've gone and I've done it, and then it's somewhere in my brain, it felt like that were job done. And it wasn't job done. You have to be more committed than that. You have to be more in than that. And if I'm willing to take 3 hours out of my day twice a week to go to a gym session, which is the session itself is an hour, then I have to, it's a big time investment. So why am I not trying to get back from that other things? So I've struggled with my diet for years, not because I eat too much, because what I eat is bad. So it's not really portion control that's been the issue. It's been what you put in. And that's where the second element of my progress comes in. So it's working hard with Finn. It's being disciplined while you're in the gym. It's listening to his advice on what supplements I should be taking. I would always encourage anybody that's able to seek the advice of a personal trainer, because I would not have that motivation to do it myself. And he is slowly stepping me up. And every time I go to the gym, I'm feeling stronger. And every third time per se that I'm going, we will up the weights on my. I've got 3 different circuits that I do, and we'll tend to up the weights, and we keep going up and up and up, or increasing reps, or whatever it might do. So we're getting stronger all the time. But I wasn't dropping the weight. I noticed my shape was changing, so I knew the gym work was working, and I was probably building muscle and losing fat, but I wanted to drop weight because my priority is to lose weight. So ironically, that was just a time that Oxford Natural got in touch with myself and the Proper Football boys and offered us a sponsorship deal. Essentially, they wanted to sponsor the channel and talked to us about their products. Now, thankfully we've had to field a lot of sponsorship offers with Proper Football, and I hope the boys don't mind me talking about it. I'm sure they don't. So we're very careful about what we look into, and the deal has to be right for us, because we've got a lot of offers. So if we go with one, then we'd like to think we're throwing all our weight behind it. And now myself, Cal, and Connor are all sponsored both individually and collectively as Proper Football by Oxford Natural. And I told their representative about me trying to lose weight, and that hopefully something like Oxford Natural would be something that's good for me. I have started taking the supplements 2.5 weeks ago, and in the last 3 weeks, so with the huge assistance of Oxford Natural, but slightly before that as well, I have lost a stone in weight. It is just looking at it, and again, I'm not on commission or anything like that. They do sponsor the channels, so I don't want to hide anything, but I am actually using this. It's a food supplement. So when I've taken one of these in the morning, I don't feel the need to eat until like early afternoon, really, and then I'll just have something light, and then we'll have a fairly healthy tea, and that's what's working for me. I am being sensible with it. I have one before. There's a night collection as well that I have by my bedside that I take. So that's Optimum Day, and then there's Optimum Night as well. As I said, I haven't included that so I can advertise them today, but that's what's working for me, and that is, as I said, I was delighted this morning because I don't know if anybody caught. I did a show with Lee yesterday, and I was telling him the tale about it. We played the Oxford Natural ad because they sponsor the Blades Ramble and the Jimmy Smith EFL channel, like as it's known now. But we played it on the Ramble last night, and I was telling Lee that I had lost a stone doing it, and then because I'd had like a pizza over the weekend, I was down to 12 pounds lost overall. Well, I've weighed in this morning, and I'm back up to just over a stone lost actually. So I'm absolutely buzzing with my results. I want to thank Finn for sticking with me first and foremost, because it's not been easy to sort of it can't have been, and he's never once sort of lost his patience with me or anything like that, but it can't have been easy to sort of have somebody that's not been it's not been seeing the results. It's been hard for me to stay motivated. So for him putting all the work in and not seeing me change, because I wasn't doing the work outside of the gym, which is important. You have to be committed to this sort of thing. So yeah, that's the current up to date, and my plan is to do this probably weekly now in terms of giving you an update. You know where I'm like with these things, that might drift unfortunately, but I'll try my absolute best to keep going with it. And I'm excited as to where we can go with it. My initial target was 3 stone, so I'm a third of the way there. But if anybody knows me at all, and I know I've spoke to Lou about this previously, I'm never satisfied. So, and I don't think you can be satisfied to be a goal-oriented person. You have to always move your goals in line with what you're achieving. So yeah, that's where I am. I just wanted to come on this morning and give you a brief update, and I'm delighted with where I am with it. The one thing I'll say is, if I can do it, I promise you can do it. If anybody's struggling with motivation or anything like that, keep going. I think consistency really helps in terms of getting up and going again. But I was the least motivated person to get myself in gear. I knew I needed to do it, but I would always prioritize something else. I don't think of myself as lazy at all, but I would always prioritize other things because I'm a worrier by nature. Work would come first, and then I'm always trying to, have family time and stuff like that. So taking time away from the family when it's a 3-hour job to go to the gym and stuff like that, it's been tricky at times, but consistency pays off, and I am a lot happier for it now. So that now gives me the motivation to continue. I'm under no illusions as well, because I've been on weight loss things before, that you often get a big loss up front and then it slows down a little bit. So not to be disheartened when there's only a pound off or a couple of pounds off, or even, status quo. Just keep going. Just keep going. Be consistent, and then you might get another big drop, or even if you don't, even if it's just a gradual loss, then you'll kick on. So right, that's all I wanted to talk to you about this morning. It were only going to be a quick one. I'm going to read some of your comments now. Batman Lou starts us off saying, "Keep going, Jim. Once you have that momentum, you don't want to stop. I'm in the same cycle currently. Another gym day today for me, and the next 3 days. We're always harder on ourselves, especially when you hold yourself to high standards. Nothing wrong with it, but we can put ourselves under too much pressure. Have to give yourself a break sometimes. Really important that. I think that's very fair to say. Very fair." Maka says, looking a lot brighter around the face already, to be fair. Keep up the good work, marching on together. Thank you, my mate. Feeling good at the moment. Dave Morwood says, looking good, Sir Jimmy. Keep it going, pal. You can do it. We know how difficult it can be. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. And Bald and Brilliant Lee says, I met Jimmy for a ramble outing at Game Show All-Stars in Sheffield last Thursday, and you could definitely see a weight loss and was very happy for him. As many of you know, including myself, that losing weight is hard. But I'm sure Jimmy will be successful in the long term. We're all behind you, Jim. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. Thank you to everybody for joining me this morning. Believe it or not, I don't have to ramble on for ages and ages with every show that I do. So I'm going to leave it there. I know I've talked an awful lot this morning already in a shortish space of time. But I just wanted to sort of give you a bit of a positive update as to what's happening with me at the minute. So thank you to everybody for sticking with me. I am determined to see this through. So I'll keep you posted on how we're going, and I'll see you on the other side.